And this week it's 100 subscriber special. So I'm going to be showing you how to make a lemon Swiss roll. For this recipe, you're going to need 75 grams of caster sugar, 75 grams of self-raising flour, 2 large eggs, 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon curd, and for your butter ice filling, you're going to need 125 grams of icing sugar, 75 grams of butter, and a few drops of lemon juice. Preheat your oven to 200 degrees centigrade. I'm using a fan oven. It's time to clean. So the first thing you'll need is a warm, soapy cloth, first of all, to wipe over your surfaces, and then spray your surfaces with an antibacterial spray. Crack both eggs into the bowl, one at a time, making sure that there's no shell in there. If there is, this is the time to get it out. Add your 75 grams of sugar, caster sugar. Throw away your eggshells and wash your hands. Using an electric whisk, place your electric whisk into your bowl and then slowly start on slow speed. You will need to whisk your mixture for 4 to 5 minutes. Mixture should have doubled in volume, it should have gone thick, and also it should have gone a lot paler in colour. Your mixture is done when you can lift your blades up and pick it across, and it should form a trail. If it forms a trail, we know we have whisked it enough and there is lots of air bubbles in it. Add your 75 grams of flour, a little bit at a time, giving it a sprinkle before adding in. Use the folding in method where you go around the outside of the bowl, through the middle, in order to fold it in. Keep adding a little bit of your flour at a time once it is mixed in until all of it has been used up. This is so that you don't knock any of your air out that you did with your original electric whisk. A little tip is to add 1 tablespoon of warm water, which will help your consistency. Check the bottom of your bowl to make sure that there's no flour that's trapped underneath. Okay, so it's time to line your tin. So to show you how to do that, place your Swiss roll tin onto your greaseproof paper and using a pencil, just go round the baseline from the outside. So you can see it like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to continue your lines freehand, like so. Okay, and just to show you, when you're doing your cutting, you're going to not cut on this one, cut on this one, and it's alternate lines where you are cutting, like so. Okay, and now you don't want your pencil lines touching your cake mixture, so therefore what you're going to do is you're going to turn your paper over so you can still see your lines through it, and you're going to fold across on every single of your lines. You'll notice that all of the fold lines are folding up towards the inside of my tray. So what you're going to do is just turning it over so you can see your cut lines again. So you're cutting on only the tick lines. I would make sure that you've got a similar margin all the way around, because what you don't want is your paper to be too high in the oven and touching any outside elements of inside elements of the oven, because that might actually cause a fire. Okay, so turning your paper over, the idea is now that if we grease our tin, all of these pieces of paper should now fit snugly within our tin. So grease your tin, make sure you do the base as well as the sides, because this is what your grease-proof is actually going to stick to. I'm going to place pencil lines facing downwards to the tin and place it in like so. You might need to move it around a little bit just so it sits squarely in your tin. If you want these flaps that are sticking out, you could use a little bit of margarine just to stick it a bit like glue, so that they don't interfere with your cake mix when removing it from the tin. Add your cake mix to the tin, like so. And make sure that it's evenly spread out to all the corners. You could use a spatula so that there's no waste whatsoever. And then use your spatula to spread out. You can also use gravity to take hold in order to reach all of the corners, and do the same the other side. So to get any of the large air bubbles out, what you're going to do is you're going to tap the base of your tin so any large air bubbles come to the surface. Place in the oven for 7 minutes. We'll need a cool wrap out. To make the filling, add your 75 grams of margarine to your 125 grams of caster sugar. Do not be tempted to use an electric whisk, as this is likely to go terribly wrong, as in you could end up looking like Casper the Ghost. Squash your margarine up into your icing sugar until that you can no longer see your icing sugar. Add 1 cupful of lemon juice, which is about 1 teaspoon. This will also help with consistency and add flavour. Piece of greaseproof paper about a similar size to the one you use to actually line your tin, and then sprinkle with caster sugar. Also put your cool rack lengthwise, so this makes it easy for when it comes out the oven. You will also need yourself a palette knife. Swiss roll, you'll notice I've got my greaseproof paper at the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be turning it, taking it from this side where you can see my X. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to be turning it onto my greaseproof paper. Okay, so you're going to lift up your greaseproof paper from the edges. you're just going to score about 1 centimetre from the end of your Swiss roll, not cutting through. Use your paper to help you, and what you're going to do is you're going to roll it. If you were using jam, you could jam it right now, but because I'm using buttercream as well, I need to cool it first of all and show the sponge where I want it to form, so that this makes it, when it's cooled down, I can unroll it in its same position, and then I'll be able to add buttercream. If you were to add buttercream at this stage, obviously your sponge is still warm and your buttercream will just melt. Okay, so that's nice and tight. So I'm going to use my grease-proof paper in my favour, and I'm just going to roll it like so, allow the ends to show, and I'm just going to place it with the fold side down onto my tray, ready to cool. Okay, so open out your greaseproof paper and then very carefully unroll your sponge. If you're struggling, use your palette knife just to help it open. It should be nicely cooled. So add your lemon curd and spread a thin layer like you were spreading a sandwich. Once you've added your lemon filling, get a separate knife and spoon on your buttercream. Spread out thinly, but try not to drag your jam. Try not to go too near the edges, because as you roll your Swiss roll again, what will happen is it will squeeze out towards the sides. Okay, so using the original roll, we're now going to roll it back. So you can see it just starting there where I said it was going to come to the edges. And then what I would do is then wrap it back up into the greaseproof paper. You can see it's trying to squeeze out. Roll it back up and place in a cooled area so that the buttercream can go back to a bit harden up to become a solid. Okay, so this has been sitting in the fridge overnight. So what I'm going to do is just trim the ends. It's hardened up, and you can see quite nicely that it's formed the swirl that we wanted to actually achieve.